We live? Good afternoon, everybody. I'm here at the community newspapers. Andres, I did not get the notification that we're on live. Did you get it, Michael?
Nope, I don't see it. But I see
Yeah.
it from their page.
Oh,
I don't
you
know if I can
do?
share it from there.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'm here today with Commissioner Michael Gongora to talk about the ballot questions for the upcoming Miami Beach election. And sorry, let me just share it. So I just share it to my page, I guess. I don't even know how to share it. Can you come and do this, Andres? Because I don't know where I'm supposed to be sharing it. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Michael, were you able to share it? Can you share it to the Miami Beach
Yes.
residents page and to my page? Okay,
Yes.
we're here today to talk about ballot questions. We're very excited about this. But before we even go to the ballot questions, I thought that we would talk about tomorrow's commission meeting. There was an email from Commissioner Stephen Miner, and the title of the email was Law and Order. So tomorrow, actually, Commissioner Gongora will be, is that your final commission meeting?
It is my final full one. We've got a couple of the little quickie meetings, but tomorrow is my last long all-day meeting as commissioner.
As I'm gonna miss having you on the dais so much because you've stood up for so many issues that are so important in the city. We're really gonna miss you.
Thank you.
I know, but you
Thank
got to stay actively involved, and now you can zoom in and weigh in on issues. So what we heard yesterday was that so Stephen Miner sent out this email, and he has a resolution on tomorrow's agenda, and the resolution is surrounding crime and prosecution at Miami-Dade County. Do you want to explain a little bit what this item is about?
Well, sure. The only the subject's title made the regular agenda, and I haven't done my agenda review yet. But what I understand this to be, and I support it, is that we got to get tough on crime. One of the things we've been extremely upset about at Neighborhoods Committee, both Commissioner Miner and me, is the lack of prosecution and follow through on arrest. At the city, we spend a lot of time about policing, more aggressive policing, police walking the streets, more police, more cameras. But what happens is a lot of the arrests that are actually made never get prosecuted. They get dismissed. People get slaps on the wrist. And we've both been very concerned about this. The city has its own municipal prosecutor that's supposed to be prosecuting our municipal ordinances. But I think he wants to start really tracking what the state is doing once people are arrested by the city of Miami Beach and make sure that that is followed through with and done. And that is something that I support.
Oh, well, so I support that too. I actually remember that we funded a prosecutor, did we not? At one
Yeah.
point?
Yeah, we have a municipal prosecutor, and I've been asking questions about what that prosecutor is doing. I haven't seen an updated report. Another item that I was sponsoring, and I believe Commissioner Miner has come on as a co sponsor, which is great because it'll survive after I'm gone, is to create a community court program in the city of Miami Beach, similar to what they have in the city of Fort Lauderdale. And what they've done is they brought the court into City Hall, a judge, a prosecutor, people that can provide all kinds of referrals for social service programs. And for some of these smaller municipal and misdemeanor crimes, it's people that either have drug or alcohol problems, mental health issues, homeless, and it's like a one-stop shop for court. So it also helps rehabilitate them and bring them back into being functioning members of society. And it's been functional there. And I'm hopeful that we can take off with a pilot soon in Miami Beach.
So if people do, okay, if they go to our community court and it's somebody that has an addiction problem or obviously some mental health issue, do we just send them to jail or where do these people go?
It depends on the nature and severity of the crime. Because if it's a serious crime, then yeah, they need to go to jail and be punished and receive treatment there. But sometimes people are first time offenders or it's small, petty type thefts because they're homeless and they don't have money. For some of these types of crimes, it's possible to rehabilitate people. So, my understanding of the program is that we would work with the advocate and the other social service providers to get them help. If they need medication, we'll get them them medication. Remember, I also sponsored the program where we were actually medicating homeless people to try to help them get better and get them off the streets.
By the way, was that program working at all?
It is. It's not received the overwhelming success we had hoped for, but it did manage to stay on the budget for another year as a pilot.
And how much is that costing the city of Miami Beach?
I don't remember the exact amount, but I want to say approximately $70,000 a year.
That's good. I mean, I hear so many people talk about the homeless, and I always refer to the homeless trust and their budget, and there's actually an item about the homeless and domestic violence victims on the ballot that we're going to get to later. But listen, I completely support Stephen Miner in this on this resolution. I would like to see our prosecutor at county court. I would like to see somebody dedicated just to making sure that these people don't keep getting arrested. I mean, some of these guys that have gotten arrested 160 times, I understand why our police are sick and tired of arresting the same people. Can you imagine how ill you must be if you get arrested 160 times? I don't think it's criminal at that point. I think it's a mental health issue. Don't
Yeah,
you?
definitely. Definitely. I think that most homeless people, whether they have mental health issues at the start of their homelessness, I think it develops over time. I mean, it must be very depressing and terrible to be living on the streets. I think you have to have either a mental health or a substance abuse issue to not want to rehabilitate and get better.
Yeah, did you see with the guy with the bike who was like holding the bike up in the air and he slammed it on top of the other person? I mean, like those types of crimes, I just can't even fathom that they're happening on our streets right now.
It's
Uh,
horrible, but I do think that we are doing a good job. I know the homeless outreach team is working very diligently. Our homeless committee is super in tune. Our friend, Valerie Navarrete, has been such an advocate for the homeless people. Last month, she did a wonderful, wonderful homeless program at the All Saints, All Souls Episcopal Church with Father Tim Carr that was amazing. I went out there and they provided so many services. By 9 a.m., she had gotten so many homeless people off the street and into shelters. It goes to show you what one person's determination can do to change a community.
she is very impressive. I was there at the Hispanic Heritage Month Awards where she got honored, and I thought that was very nice that the community finally stood up and said, "Hey, we need to honor Valerie." And Liliana gave this wonderful speech talking about how she gets the homeless, showers and dentists and all sorts of stuff. So she's really an amazing woman. She's kind of like the Barbara Capitman of the homeless. So
I like that.
yeah, these these good works, it's a lot of hard work that she got no glory or recognition for many years. So congratulations, Valerie. Congratulations. And now let's go on because I want to do these ballot questions, and I want to start off with referendum question number 1. Amending lease of city property, the Holocaust Memorial Site. The Holocaust Memorial at Dade Boulevard and Meridian Avenue is on city land lease to the Greater Miami Jewish Federation until 2099. Shall city, at no cost to city, extend this lease for 21 additional years and expand the lease premises to include adjacent 12,000 square foot city parking lot per resolution, blah, 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 with Federation at its sole expense constructing, operating, and maintaining a 7,000 square foot learning center promoting tolerance and human rights. So do you want to explain this? Obviously, there's a 12,000 square foot adjacent city parking lot. Is that why this is on the ballot?
Well, that's a good question. Some people have reached out to me and told me that some of that square footage extends beyond the parking lot into the botanical gardens. I don't know if that's true or not true because I haven't researched it. What I can tell you is that this did get a unanimous vote from the commission to go on the ballot, including me. And I am a big supporter of the Holocaust Memorial Site, and I love what they are doing with constructing a learning center. And I'm voting yes. But I can tell you there is one thing on this item that I mentioned at the commission meeting that I wish we would have included in the contract, because I asked from the dais, we're giving away city land for a learning center. And I want to be sure that our city residents can always enter for free and use the learning center for free. And I was told yes by the representatives of the Holocaust Memorial, and I believe them. But as a lawyer, I wanted it to go in the contract, and I couldn't get support for that promise to go into the contract. So I am a big supporter. I think this is a good item. I just am intending that it stays true to what it was supposed to be and that our city residents will always have free access.
So can I ask a question? Once the Holocaust item is passed on the ballot, will they be signing the lease afterward, or is this like the lease once this passes? I mean, there's going to be a lease written afterward, correct?
The contract was already done. The contract was done before the public vote. So I
Oh,
believe the contract has already been approved.
okay. So the contract is approved and it can't be amended at this point because do they mention the contract number? Okay.
Oh, well, could be amended in accordance with the contract. I think once the contract is signed, it's an agreement. It can be amended in whatever manner the contract provides.
Okay. Interesting. I'm voting yes on this too. We're going to
Mhm.
get a Holocaust Memorial Learning Center, 7,000 square feet, and it will be adjacent to where the Holocaust Memorial is right now. And then they will be able to do indoor programming, which I think will be nice because a lot of events that they hold outside, sometimes it's really hot outside and they're honoring Holocaust survivors. And I wonder, you have 100-year-old people and they're standing in the sun. So I can understand why they would want an indoor facility too, in order to host different events and have different services and recognitions, correct?
Yeah, no, I agree. I completely agree with the same reasons. This is supposed to be focused more on a learning center, which I think is beautiful to continue to tell the story. We can never forget the horrible atrocities that occurred in Nazi Germany and around the world. So, yes, it's wonderful. The other thing, though, that I'm also hopeful that I was also told would be included is it's terrible what happened to the Jewish people, but also the LGBT population was also murdered. And I hope that there is some focus as well on the LGBT population that was also murdered during the Holocaust.
Can't imagine if you were gay and Jewish. You had a double whammy coming at you. Well, that's great. I'm voting yes on that. Let's talk about the Smith and Walensky lease. Amending the lease of city property, Smith and Walensky site at South Point Park. City's lease 5.56 acres of property to 1 Washington Avenue Corp for Smith and Walensky Restaurant, South Point Park. It expires November 2025. They are getting the lease extended through December 2045. Okay, so a 20-year extension plus renewal options. Restaurant providing, but do they say what the renewal options are? They do not say what the renewal operations are, but they do say a minimum of they're going to do $3,300,000 in restaurant upgrades. The rent is either a percentage rent, but they don't say what percentage of revenue, or $11,680,000 over the first 10 years. So there, let's see. Free restaurant mentorship seminars. I don't even know what that is. And parks security gate installation ? I listen. I'm voting yes because I love Spilensky, but I have to tell you that this is not well written. What are the renewal options on this? What is parks security gate installation ? And what are free restaurant mentorship seminars? What are all these things?
Well, this is the difficult part about ballot questions and why they're confusing. And I always encourage anybody watching the show that has questions, you should go onto the City of Miami Beach website and read the backup information because they don't always give you the full story.
I can't
I
see if
voted.
anybody's watching. Are people commenting, or can they see what we're doing right now? Do we have a feed on? No, there's. Oh, okay. So we don't. Okay, sorry, Michael. I didn't mean to cut you off. I love Smith
No,
and
no.
Walensky, and I think the
It's
fact that they have parking is crucial, but that's an awful long increase in the lease. You mean a 20 additional 20 years? What is I get that. I would agree. I think that we've been giving long leases. What do you think, Michael? Is that standard?
I voted to put this on the agenda for the voters to on the ballot. I'm sorry, not the agenda, on the ballot for the voters to decide. But I agree with a lot of the comments made. Personally, I love Smith and Walensky. It's one of my favorite restaurants. It has those beautiful water views, and I think they really maintain the quality very well. And I think people love them. It is a long lease. I'm less concerned with the length of the lease than I am with some of the other issues that may impact residents. My biggest concern with this lease was the parking. As commissioner, I do get complaints from time to time from people that Smith and Walensky usurps a large portion of the city parking lot for the restaurant, and that residents can't find a space when they're coming to hang out, go to the beach, go to the park, whatever they're doing. So, one of the questions that I asked over and over, are we giving up more spaces to the public than we currently have? And I was told yes, because that was very important to me. Second, one of
Are
the
there
things that
any spaces left for the public after this lease?
they're supposed to be, that's what I was told. That's what I was
Parking
told in
seems
my
to be
agenda
abused by
briefings.
contractors. There are a lot of contractors in that parking lot. This is a very long lease. I would agree too. I you know, it's interesting. I think I don't understand why why the actual ballot question has a question mark in it. It doesn't make any sense. Why is there a
It,
question mark in the ballot question?
I have no idea. I agree with you that that's very odd. I'm going to ask in my agenda review later today why that is there because why I agree with you. Why would there be a question mark on a ballot? Park security guard installation question mark. It seems like it's a typo almost.
And what exactly are the renewal options? And then it doesn't mention the parking. So I do think that residents would have liked to see. I'm going to vote yes on it, but I know that another resident reached out and said that it should be more. It's not a clear lease, and they would like to understand what's going on with the parking.
I,
So
Yeah, the parking is a big issue. I will tell you one of the things that they're doing that won't affect the public at large, but it will affect at least some of the low income seniors. One of the things not on the ballot question is they will be providing at least one meal monthly for the residents of Rebecca Towers. That's something that I helped negotiate for. I'm always
really,
pushing for the
they're
seniors.
getting Smith and Walensky once a month. That's incredible. It's wonderful to be a senior citizen on Miami Beach. My goodness, our seniors really get some great perks. So that's good. And you know what? You've been wonderful throughout your tenure here as we sign these contracts. I know that if you are a senior citizen, and people do not know this, if you are over 65, I believe you get a free lounge chair from the Boucher brothers if you go and show your driver's license. If you're a Miami Beach resident over 65, you get a lounge chair and an umbrella, but you have to go up to North Beach, right?
Well, actually, remember, I pushed for a location in South Beach. So now there's two locations where you're able to get the free launch shares if you're a Miami Beach resident. So, some of the people on the dais have criticized me, but I think the majority of the residents like the fact that I'm constantly going back over the contracts, trying to tweak additional public benefits for the residents.
The only thing that I worry about is that when you leave and nobody really knows about these benefits, will they continue? There were certain programs that I started on the commission that have just disappeared now. Like I got approved like $1,000. You could buy a brick on the beach walk as a memoriam for somebody if you wanted to for anything for $1,000, and that money was supposed to go to education. Where's my program? Where's my brick program? Before you leave office, just in case I'm not, just in whatever happens this election cycle, will you find out about my program?
I'm not sure, Kristen, but I believe I read something that another commissioner picked it up and is now sponsoring it to directly benefit the Sabrina Cohen building. So I think that it's been picked up and modified.
Oh, that's interesting because I mean, it was supposed to go to education. That was the whole thing. So it's now going to Sabrina Cohen. Well, they're two very good causes. So interesting. Thank you for letting me know that. One other thing that I saw in your budget meeting is that my Adopt a Bench program was brought up as a way to fill the budget gap, which I found quite amusing because it was a pretty large budget cap and we don't have that many benches to sell. Uh, who's going to want to buy a bench? When I did it, you got a little memorial plaque on the bench. Who's going to pay $20,000 for a bench if there's no plaque on it? So you guys removed the plaque, which basically gutted my program. and nobody ever bought a bench again. But that was a great program. And if you go to Central Park to the Conservancy, you can see that all of those park benches are sponsored by people. We don't have a cemetery in Miami Beach. It would have raised a lot of money. And I was kind of upset that that program went by the wayside. So let's
Yeah.
continue because I only have a finite time here. Let's talk about the non-binding straw ballot question to urge the legislature 1% for homeless assistance, domestic violence center. This has to be Ricky Areola. It's coming back
Mhm.
again. Ricky Areola, you guys voted to put this on the ballot. First of all, it is non-binding. It is a straw ballot. And even if it passes, it's only a resolution to send to the state legislature urging them to tax us. Why on earth would we ask the state legislator to tax us more than they already are? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, the commission was not in favor of passing the resolution to ask the state to tax our restaurants. Clearly, the restaurant industry, the Chamber of Commerce, and the business corridor do not want the additional tax. I have concerns about it because I'm not in favor of taxes generally. I think that we have a homeless problem that we're addressing through the city of Miami Beach in a number of other ways, and taxing our businesses where we don't control that money and it goes to the homeless trust, which gets spread throughout the county, I have serious concerns about. So I am in support of dedicating more resources towards homeless assistance and domestic violence. I'm not in favor of taxing our businesses, so I'm not in favor of this item.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of it too. And it has nothing to do with domestic violence victims and it has nothing to do with funding for the homeless. We already donate a lot of money. Natalie Nichols is asking us right now about there is a lounge and umbrellas in North Beach, Natalie. If you go by Unidad Center straight to the beach, you get a free lounge chair and umbrella. And Natalie Nichols says we should have lockers on the beach. I believe the Boucher brothers do have lockers on the beach, don't they, Michael?
I don't know, to be honest. I'd have to ask. I'm not sure.
We could get lockers on the beach. I don't know how aesthetically pleasing we could make them. Maybe we could make little lockers out of wood. I don't know how the city would administer that program. But it's a good idea, Natalie. I'm gonna add it to my list. Okay, and then finally, here is the most controversial question. People across the city are talking about it right now. I think it's going to bring out a lot of voters, and that is voters, not voters. Straw ballot question number one, non binding straw ballot question, changing alcohol beverage establishments. So I want everybody to actually read the ballot question so that they know what they're voting on. This city law allows, subject to exemptions, the sale and consumption of alcoholic beverages at alcohol beverages established throughout the city from 8 a.m. until 5 a.m. the following day. Would you support changing this 5 a.m. termination time to 2 a.m. throughout the city with specific locations and related restrictions and exemptions to be determined by city commission by ordinance? I support the first part of the ballot question. I do not support the second part. I don't know what the specific locations, related restrictions, and exceptions to be determined by the city commissioners. That is just putting way too much power into the hands of a few commissioners. And I think that there's this the city is divided. I feel like some people are going to get exemptions and some people aren't. How could we have made this ballot question fair, Michael? How could we have made it something that people would have wanted to vote for?
Well, remember, Kristen, the commission has the power to do these things now. They can roll back the time to 2 a.m. They can decide when, where, how. So the commission has that authority. For whatever reason, the commission has never been unified on what the best approach to dealing with crime and problems throughout the city, especially in the entertainment district. So whenever that comes up, there's always some member of the commission that says, oh, we'll roll back the hours to 2 in the entertainment district, and that'll solve everything. The city will be fine. I've been very public that I do not agree with that thought or school of logic. I have been very supportive and more aggressive policing, like I said at the beginning of your show with Commissioner Minor, more policing, increasing the city budget, installation of cameras, rebranding the city. I'm into a lot of different ideas, but the first idea that I think it was the mayor that put it on was just to close Ocean and Collins. Then it expanded to the entertainment district, then expanded citywide, and then it became subject to whatever exceptions the commission deems appropriate. And I think the concern that I'm hearing from people is that big businesses that can afford to lobby are going to get the exceptions, and the little businesses that can't afford to aren't, and that they might be the ones to suffer from this.
You can't. I think everybody's afraid of those type of exemptions because because it's unfair. And we know right now that there could be a majority of commissioners, and the city is very divided in terms of, which side somebody's on in these issues. And these exemptions are really unfair. I really wish that this ballot question had been written very differently so that everybody could vote on it. And but it's not the way that it's written right now. It could be really evil to somebody who doesn't get along with the power structure, or who doesn't, somebody who's spoken out against the commissioner in the past. They're going to come back and pull their license, but to their friends they're going to give a license. So this isn't the type of zoning and power that we want to hand to the commission. I really think that this ballot question should have been thought out more by the commission before they put it on the ballot question. And I think that's really the biggest problem with it, is that vague, random uh, language. Wouldn't you say, Michael?
Well, I think the ballot question is very loosey goosey. So there's going to be two schools of thought opposing it and one school of thought in favor. There's one school of thought in favor that is just thinks nothing good happens after two. I'm going to vote for it. It can't hurt. But they don't, I think that group needs to dig a little deeper into the question and see the people they're putting out of work, what they're doing, and if the benefit is going to be worth it. I
It's
think
a
you're going to
trick
have.
question. It's a trick ballot question because, like, certain people, like maybe the Good Time Hotel, is definitely getting an exemption so they can make the residents surrounding that miserable. And if that same person owns Story is going to get the exemption, but then maybe Mangoes doesn't. And how is that fair? How is it fair for one business to get an exception over another? And that's really what bothers me. If I thought that our commission was fair, I would say fine. But I've seen things like the inspector general, and I do respect Joe Centurino. I knew him when he headed the Miami-Dade County Ethics Commission. But as an inspector general, when that became politicized, the people the people of Miami Beach voted, let's have an inspector general. But then the way that you guys did it, where it became a political appointment, I don't think that the inspector general is very objective if his whole job is subject to having the approval of the people on the commission. How does that make any sense, Michael? How is he going to be independent if his hiring and firing is dependent on the politicos he's supposed to be watching?
Well, I think that his position, quite frankly, was not what was promised 4 years ago, because they took the position and kind of watered it down to more or less city auditor with some additional powers. They moved the position of the inspector general to the old city hall building, far away from our city hall. They put it under the office of the budget, essentially, and merged them like with that whole accounting department. And we're spending over $1 million now on a department that could and is certainly capable of doing a lot of good things for the city. I'm just not sure if we've gotten a lot of a bang for our buck so far.
No, I would say that every single time I've reached out to the inspector general, his decisions have been very politically motivated. It's been very disappointing. People are referring stuff to him all the time, and I think they're very disappointed in those referrals. You know what, Michael? I would like to keep going, but Bob Powers is like outside the room giving me the look like, get off of the Zoom now. But listen, thank you so much. You were always open to coming and speaking about items. You do these Zooms, they're very educational. I'm going to promote it now across Miami Beach so that people can have a better idea about the ballot questions. Thank you, Natalie and Elizabeth, for participating and giving us some interaction too. So disappointed, right, Natalie? So I have to sign off, but Michael, thank you for joining us, and thank you for always being so resident friendly.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite. Everybody remember to go vote. Early voting starts Monday, October 18th.
Go vote. Go vote. So nervous. All right. Take